So in this video, if you're doing grade 11 and grade 12, it's going to be very important if you don't understand what cofunctions are. So additionally, after explaining what cofunctions are, I'm going to be doing these questions so that you can see the importance of understanding cofunctions. So for this video, I'll only explain this one. And then if you're going to be watching from YouTube, you're going to get the remainder of the question, which is the second section. So I'm only going to do this one in this video. So yeah, let's get into it. So what are cofunctions? Cofunctions, the way I want you to conceptualize it is basically an exchange from sin to cos or from cos to sin. But I don't want you to memorize it. I want you to understand why that is the case. For example, this is what you have to do. If you're given originally a ratio of sin, as you can see, this is sin, right? The answer will be cos, but now the sign is very important. As we know, the Cartesian plane, right? It is all stations to Cape Town or whatever mnemonic you use, right? But here, meaning all ratios are positive, meaning cos, sin, and tan is positive in the first quadrant. In the second quadrant, only sin is positive, the others are negative. Here, tan, here, cos. You get the idea, right? But when you're doing cofunctions, you're going to realize here, a ratio that's supposed to be negative is positive, and a ratio that's positive is negative, right? And this is the reason why. So we go here. Remember what I told you, cofunction, the way I want you to conceptualize it is an exchange for sin to cos. For example, here, this is the first quadrant. No, these are supposed to be minus because it's in the first quadrant, minus and minus, sort of like how I wrote there. So these are supposed to be minus, and these are 90 plus because they follow on the second quadrant. So here, the exchange is going to happen. So we have a sin, which is the original given to us, right? We have a sin 90 minus x. So the sin is going to change into what? A cos x, a positive cos x. Why? Because this is in the first quadrant, and in the first quadrant, we know that all ratios are positive. Hence, we're going to have a positive exchange of the sin to a cos. And then when we have a cos, which is the original given to us, that one will exchange to a sin x. Why a positive sin x? Because remember, once again, in the first quadrant, all of them are positive. You get it? If you're following so far, it's very good. That's basically what these are. So when you see these type of questions, yeah, you just do this. So let's get into the second one. So when we get to the second one, we have 90 plus x. Now that plus tells you now we're in the second quadrant. Now let's go back to the basics. In the second quadrant, which one is positive? Only sin. The others should be negative. Now let's go into it. So because we have a negative sin, we have a positive sin in this quadrant, the exchange is still going to happen. But now the cos will be positive cos x. You're probably thinking, why Sancho? Because here you said only sin is positive. Yeah, the positive you see comes from the original statement given to us, which is this one. And in the second quadrant, we know that sin is positive. Hence, when the exchange happens, the cos occupies the positive chair, which is this one. Hence, we have a positive cos, right? Let's go into the second one. What if you're given cos 90 plus x? Now you ask yourself, in the second quadrant, is cos positive? No, cos is negative. So you put the negative there, and then we do the exchange. We know we're going to exchange the cos for a sin x. And this is normally confusing for students because, like, why would sin be negative in his own quadrant? Yeah, the negative doesn't necessarily belong to the sin. It belongs to the original, which was given to us, which is the cos. So whenever the exchange happens, the original still maintain its sign, which is negative in this quadrant. And then we exchange the cos for a sin. Hence, we have this. I hope this helps when it comes to co-functions. And for an easy 4-mark question, let's answer the following. So here we have cos 90 plus x. We know cos 90 is going to be equal to negative sin x. So this one becomes a negative. The top numerator becomes negative sin x. Easy mark. Sin minus x. Sin minus x is a positive cos rather. Sorry about that. Positive cos x divided by a tan x, right? We do know that these two are an identity. You're probably thinking, how? Because sin over cos equates to tan, or tan is equal to sin over cos. So we basically have, because of that negative there, we have a negative tan x divided by a positive tan x. So that's basically equivalent to negative 1 divided by 1. The answer is negative 1. So the answer here is going to be negative 1. Easy stuff. So you see the importance of knowing your cofunctions, because if you didn't know that, then your answer would have probably been 1 if you don't know the sign thingy I was explaining. So very careful with that. This is the answer, or this is the simplified version of that there. So if you're watching this on TikTok, the full video is on YouTube where I'm doing this. If you're watching this from YouTube, then let's continue. So for this one, still the same concept applies, but just additional information. Here we have the 360 minus x and then the 180 minus x. So if you're not familiar with these, I did a quick sketch here on the side so that you understand the quadrants we're working with. So this is in the first quadrant, and we know sin is positive in the first quadrant. Here, second quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So we solve this one as follows. So for 5 marks, we are required to prove that the following, which is this statement here, is equal to cot squared theta. But first, in order for you to know what cot squared theta is, do you know what cot is? Now, if you don't know, cot is the opposite of tan, right? And tan is the opposite of cot. What do I mean by that? For example, we know that tan is sine over cos, right? So cot, because cot is the opposite of sine over cos is cos over sine. That makes sense, right? Hence, we have the 1 over 1 over. That 1 over just means the reciprocal opposite. So if this one is sine over cos, cot is going to be cos over sine. That makes sense? So what we're trying to prove is that whatever we do, this here should be equal to cos over sin x. But now it is squared, so we're also going to have to square these two, meaning whatever we do, we have to end up with something like that, because that equates to this, right? So let's go. We have sin 90 minus x. That equates to, get it by now, positive cos x. Why? 90 minus is in the first quadrant, hence the positive sign. 360 minus x. So 360 minus x is in the fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, only cos is positive, meaning our sin is going to be negative. Sin x. This divided by, we have tan 180 minus 180. Minus is in the second quadrant, and only tan sin is positive there, so our tan is going to be negative. So we're going to have a negative. You're going to have a negative tan x. Now, remember what we want. We want to end up with something like cos squared over sin squared. So we're going to change the tan to cos, to sin over cos. So we're going to have this. We're going to have cos x, which is this here, all over negative sine x divided by this we know, but we still have that negative. This we know it is sin over cos. So that's going to be sin x over cos x. Now we have to simplify further. What do you notice? You notice this is a division sign. So whenever you have a division sign, you must flip it and make it a multiplication sign. Cos x over negative sin x multiply. But the moment you change this into multiply, this bracket, this fraction will also flip upside down, meaning whatever was on the top will be in the denominator, and whatever was in the denominator will be at the top. So here we're going to have cos x over sin x. I hope I'm making sense so far. Now let's start with the signs. I still have a negative here. A negative multiplied by a negative is a positive, so we can just get rid of these negatives here. Now this is what we have. Now whenever you have two fractions multiplying each other and they're on the same side of the equal sign, it's going to be top and top, bottom and bottom, right? So cos multiplied by cos squared x. Sin multiplied by sin squared x. And then we know that cos over sin is cot. So if I had a squared here and a squared here and a squared here, this is the same thing, right? And what are we required to prove? That the whole thing is equal to this. And do we have something like that? Yep, we do have it. And that's how you prove that the whole expression equals that there. But what's important is understanding your co-functions, right? You don't have to memorize this, just understand in the first quadrant, they remain positive when the exchange happen of the cos and the sin because everything is positive in this quadrant. The problem comes here where students get it confused. Remember, the thing is always going to possess the sign of the original ratio in that quadrant. So in the second quadrant, my sin is positive, hence a positive cos. My cos in this quadrant is negative, hence a negative sin x when the exchange happens. So if you've watched so far till the end of the video, I appreciate it and I hope this video was valuable. See you in the next one.